Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Grossman. I'm the chemistry teacher at Yale School. I just want to take a few moments to introduce myself, tell you a little bit about the chemistry course, the subjects we'll be covering, a little bit about the grading procedures, and also just show you the Google Classroom in case you haven't seen it, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, because we're working a lot, out of the Google Classroom during these hard times. As I mentioned, my name is Dr. Grossman. I'm a retired public school teacher. I taught in the public schools for about 26 years. After I retired, I came over to Yale School. Glad to be here to work with the students. And this is my first year here, so I'm pretty much brand new. But it's been a great learning experience at this point so far. One of the things I wanted to begin with is to tell you a little about the different subjects we'll be talking about in the chemistry course. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about the grading system, and then also finish up by showing you the Google Classroom that I created for the chemistry students. To begin the year, we talked a little bit about the scientific method and spent some time on learning or relearning the metric system, because in science, most of the measurements that we use are given in metrics. That's sort of like the measuring system for science. We use a lot of, liters, milliliters, centimeters, meters, kilograms, grams, that sort of thing in science. Currently, we just finished working with the periodic table. Periodic table is a list for all the elements, and we were looking at the different elements, the atomic mass, the atomic number, and I can share my screen and show you real quick an example of the periodic table that we use and have been working with. So you won't see me, but you'll see the screen. So under classwork, which I'll go back to in a few moments, under the materials folder, one of my students was actually kind enough to give us a link for a really, pretty cool periodic table. So here's just an example of the periodic table that lists all the elements in chemistry. You can see the elements are listed by color. There's different groups of elements. If you click on the name of the element, it highlights the elements that are in that group, which is pretty cool. Also, we talked about the individual features of the boxes. The number at the top is known as the atomic number. That stands for the number of protons. And if you look at the periodic table, one of the things you'll notice is that every element is different by the number at the top. So therefore, the number of protons makes every element unique and different from one another by changing the number of protons. So we spent a little bit of time talking about the atomic number, which is the number at the top, and you'll notice every element has a different atomic number. And also the number at the bottom, which is the atomic mass. It's the number of protons plus neutrons. We've been talking about that. There was a simulation game that we played to help the students learn the difference between the atomic number and the atomic mass, and also a little bit for the electronic charge, the protons versus the electrons. So that is always in the folder for them within the classroom to use. So let me stop presenting again so you can see me again. So we spent some time talking about the periodic table. The students actually did a project in which they picked an element of their choice and did a PowerPoint or a research project on the element. So right now we've been talking about atomic structure. How do the protons, electrons, and neutrons relate within the atom? What are the different chemical properties because of it? So right now we're working on atomic structure. We're also going to be talking about the different properties of matter, the different states of matter, liquid, solid, gas. And there's also plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate, which is a newly discovered fifth type of phase of matter. But we'll be talking about the properties of matter. We'll be working with how to name chemical formulas, and we'll also be working with chemical equations to create different chemical formulas. We'll be working with, we're talking about acids and bases, and we'll also be looking towards the end of the year at how the behavior of gases. The book we've been using as a reference would be Pearson's Chemistry. The students aren't required to take it home due to safety reasons, and we don't actually use it in the classroom, to keep everything sanitary. But these are the books that I got the subjects from for the topics we'll be covering throughout chemistry. So basically, that's a quick review of the different topics we'll be covering. As I mentioned, we'll be we'll be talking about, or we have talked about, the scientific method, the metric system. We work with the periodic table, currently work on atomic structure, properties of matter, chemical names and equations, acids and bases, and the different behaviors of gases. So that's a little introduction to different topics we covered and will be covering in chemistry. And so I want to present my screen to you again so you can actually see the Google Classroom and give you a little information on that. Once again, I'll disappear and you'll see the classroom. All right, so when you go to the chemistry classroom, Trey Hill Chemistry, Dr. Grossman, you'll see this picture. This is a stream page, and with my teaching assistants and one-on-one, can post information for the students. They can also give them links to meet with them to help them with different schoolwork. So the stream page is basically the information page that students can go to just to get some information for the class. If you look at that little arrow pointing downward and click on it, it gives you my contact information. It gives you my email, which I can be reached at mgrossman@yaleschoolnj.com. And it also gives you my Google Voice mail that you can call, which connects directly to my phone, which is 856-462-1943. That contact information can also be found when you click on classwork. At the top, it has classroom information, and it gives you my contact information again. You click on it, and it gives you my school email again, and my Google phone number, which connects to my phone. And also, during normal hours, my office hours would be 2:20 to 3 p.m. by appointment. But right now, most of the students are gone by 1:30, so generally anytime after 1:30, I can also be reached. So this is just generally the hours when we go back to the normal school hours. So once again, there's the information that you can get either in the classwork or on the stream. I mentioned there's a materials folder in which I keep the periodic table. The students can use it, can always click on it and get the periodic table if they click on that link. And as the year goes on, I'll be putting additional information under the materials folder. And you'll notice that the assignments are listed, daily, Monday, Tuesday, with a date. For the students, they know where to find it. And also the previous week's work is also saved for them so they can go back and make up work. That can be found under the week of whatever the week is. For example, here's a work listed for the week of 10/12 to 10/16, last week's work. They can be saved in a folder and found at the bottom. And you'll see as I go through, there's different weeks of work which can be found. Week from 10/5 to 10/9, from 9/29 to 10/2, etc. So all the previous work is also saved for them under the listing for that particular week, and the current week stuff is all listed here: Wednesday, Tuesday, etc. So I'm going to stop presenting again so you can see me. So I think I mentioned, but if not, let me mention again the way the grading works is there's 3 sets of grades here at Yale. We have homework, which the students aren't doing right now while they're technically, some of them are remote, so homework is not required at this point. When we go back to everybody back in school, it will be required twice a week. That's 15% of the grade. The daily task completions are 15% of the grade. That's what they do on a daily basis, and we keep a record of the work that they do. That's 15%. And then also what's called post-tests. That can include things like projects, quizzes, labs, etc. More important work. That would be 70% of their grade. And these grades aren't your child's grade isn't found in the Google Classroom. It's actually found in real time, which you have access to. The Google Classroom is just to help me keep track of the grades, but the official grades are actually in real time, which I believe you have access to. If not, contact me and I'll make sure that you get access to it. But the real time is where the actual grades of the students are kept. So the grading, again, would be homework once we're back to normal hours, 15%, task completion, 15%, and post-tests, which include, tests, quizzes, labs, etc., projects, that would be 70% of the grade. So that's a little bit of introduction to the course, myself, and also the Google Classroom itself. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me either by email or voicemail. My Google voicemail to ask me any concerns or questions that you may have. It was great meeting you guys and talking to you guys, and I hope to be talking and meeting everybody soon. Have a great night. This is actually Wednesday night when I'm recording this, but you'll see it tomorrow, obviously. Have a great night and take care. It was really great talking with everybody.